Morning. Thank you so much for being here. So this morning we're going to go over psychic self-defense, and I apologize for the sunlight there, but I'm going to show you a few things that I have here in my personal space. So the first thing that I would encourage is that you have your own personal space in your house, and if you don't have that luxury of having your own personal space, just do a corner. Seriously, like there was a time that I did that where I just designated a corner in my house, and that worked out quite well. So in my space, you can see that I have running water. Why do I have running water? Well, it's soothing and it's very nice. And it's a great conductor for positive energy. And then I also have salt. So I have a salt lamp. Well, why do I have a salt lamp? I have a salt lamp because it clears the energy of the room. It helps to clear up the energy. So psychic self-defense, there are many ways that we can do this, but I just want to make very clear that it's very, very important to put on your psychic self-defense every single day. So before you go into prayer, before you go into any kind of meditation, if you're a practicing psychic, or if you're a practicing energy worker, massage therapist, anything that has to do with giving of yourself. Really, we should be practicing psychic self-defense. Why do we have to practice psychic self-defense? Well, we have this beautiful aura all around us and within us, and in that are 7, 8, well, there's many, but what people know about are there's up to 8 functioning chakras, and they function a lot like our organs, like our heart, like our liver, like our stomach, and they bring in energy and they release energy. They bring in energy and they release energy. So this is how we're going through life. Just imagine walking through life, and we go outside on a main street, and we just run into somebody that has really negative energy. Have you ever felt, while you're standing next to someone, and they could be like the best person in the world, so we're not putting anyone down here, but have you ever stood next to someone and just had a general conversation, and then all of a sudden you just were exhausted, you were shot? Well, that's because you just gave up all of your energy to that person, or that person, in fact, took all the energy from you. So they took what they needed, and you didn't have anything to replenish with. So this is one of the reasons. And another thing is have you ever just felt emotions and you knew they weren't yours, or at least you didn't know why you were crying all day? There's no good reason for this. Well, it's because most empaths, and we all have these abilities, will give of ourselves unbeknownst to ourselves, So we need to be really careful of that. So, all right, so let's start with some psychic self-defense. One of the things that we could do for psychic self-defense that I highly recommend is that we get into a safe space, take a deep breath, we do that so that we can bring in cleansing air and release dark energy, because we're all carrying it. This should be something that we do every day. Bring in the morning, clean, fresh light, God's light, in through the nose, cleansing out the mouth. You can bring that air all the way down to your toes and bring it back up and release. You can do that as many times as you like until you feel like you have released what you needed to release. And you'll start to see that your mind will create, and you'll see colors eventually. If you're not one of those people, it will feel good. So the next step would be to bring down the light of God, Creator God, to the top of your head, emanating every single place through the top of your head, glowing out your skin, down through the neck, the chest, the shoulders, down through the stomach, the dantian. It's a qigong term. Dantian is between your belly button and the pubic bone. All the way down through your legs and out your feet. Connect to the roots of the earth, so bring that down into the earth. Bring that earth energy up from the core of the earth. A beautiful white light. Bring that up and just encompass your entire body with a bubble of white light. Never do this in fear. Always do this with love, because that's your defense. When we walk about in fear or negativity or questioning things, you're not the great I am. When you bring forth the light of God, you are what you are. I am that I am. Bring forth the light and make sure that when you're doing it, you're commanding it to not allow in anything negative into your personal space, but that you can emanate love and that you'll be protected throughout the day. So that is the great white light protection. The second thing that you can do, another protection, is use white sage. You can see I've been using mine and I have an entire bowl of sage. It's kind of fun. You can make your own sage too. But, so you see I've got all kinds of sage sitting here. I've got sage, but I have lavender. I made my own lavender last year. Lavender is a real sweet and cleansing type, but I would prefer that we do use white sage. This clears your space. Just light it and bring it across your body. You can command anything negative. So for instance, this is what I would say. With this sage, I command that anything that is negative within this room be released immediately. And so it is. I would open the door, blow it out. Do it as many times as possible. That's another psychic self-defense. So it is very important to conduct psychic self-defense before you go into prayer and before you go into meditation. Prayer, yes, some might say, well, that is a protection. Well, yes, in a large way it is. However, the more we grow in light, the more we are the light. And moths are attracted to light. So it is really important to keep your psychic self-defense up so that we don't take on certain emotions and things. So always wear the bubble of light before you go into prayer or meditation or even going out into the world. Practice the breathing and the bubble of light in the evening before you go to bed as well. So those two things, the bubble of light and the sage, great opportunities to practice this. Because as you're growing, like I said, like moths to the light, you will start experiencing some crazy things. So whatever that might be, I do have some experiences that I could share. They're really deep and somewhat intense. Some might say scary, and it was because I did not practice psychic self-defense. I am a Reiki practitioner. I am also a medium, and I'm clairvoyant, clairaudient, and it's very important to protect myself. I will share one story, and it will give you quite the idea. This one is a very extreme story, but this is what I've got to do to get my point across, the importance thereof. So I had a girlfriend come to my house. It was during Christmas, and she brought her kids. And her husband was not in a good way. He actually was very bipolar, and was just really manic. And I barely knew her. But she sat across from me, and she was telling me about her problems. And then all of a sudden, I got this flash and vision of her going home and him coming out of his closet with a shotgun, and I actually saw him shoot her. I didn't say a word. I, as people, what we want to do is we want to just jump in there and save someone. So that's what I did. I just grabbed her hands in a gentle manner and put my hands on her without protecting myself, without using a psychic self-defense. So even if you do it in the morning, if you're going to do energy work, make sure you put your bubble on right before you even do it. And I didn't do that. All I could think of was, oh my word, I've got to just save this woman, or at least I need to call in the angels. So I put my hands on hers, and I put this great bubble of light around her children, and just her car, and protected her, and I commanded these things to leave. So what I saw was also a legion of negative entities. And so I commanded them away. Well, lo and behold, I go to work the next day, and she went home and had this, this protection field around her, which she said she could feel. And I was literally physically attacked. So, there are negative negative entities out there that can physically cause harm. Not to scare you, they can't do a lot, but they can use certain situations to progress in what they to prove their point. So, I am an epileptic, and I hadn't had a seizure in 8 years. So I go to work the next day, and I have a grand mal seizure at a client's house. But not only that, it was the worst damage I've ever seen in my life. I had black eyes, hyperextended knees. It was just a tragedy. But I knew, and my spirit guides warned me. They said, you did not protect yourself. So they took that opportunity. So my energy field was weak. And when you're physically weak, it's a good time to attack. They do that because they feed off of our negative energy. If you're angry, they feed off that negative energy. If you have roommates that are angry, do not get angry back at them. Always conduct yourself in love and light, always. And this was an excellent lesson for me. I definitely learned. And so psychic self-defense, please practice it as you embark on your spiritual journey and you become the light for others. Does not mean that you are ironclad. Take heed, practice psychic self-defense, keep your guard up in love only, and all will be well. All right, so take care. Until next time.